Hi guys, episode 5 in my bargain store projects. Been down my local Poundland and 99p stores, got myself stocked up for the next few projects. I've got a LED auto light, turns on when doors or drawers are opened and off when closed. Quite simply, it's got a little reed switch in there, or effectively a reed switch with a magnet that operates it. Not going to be doing that one today. Got myself a beard trimmer set. Obviously I've just got that because that'll have an electric motor in it. Not going to do that one today. Got a USB computer vacuum cleaner. Again, that'll have an electric motor in it. I think it's 4.5 volts, isn't it? Comes out of a USB lead, so should be able to make that battery operated anyway. But again, electric motor in there. Looks like it's even got an LED as well. So that leaves us with some tea lights and a couple of scary plastic rats. Now I'm bending the rules in my project here a bit. My rules say I'll buy something for £1 and make something else with it. But I'm actually using both of these items, so supposedly that's £2 I've spent. In fact, I'm only going to use one rat in this project and another one in another project, and I'll only be using 2 of the tea lights. So it's going to be about £1. It's also going to be a very lazy project, a very easy one to do. All I'm going to do is, these tea lights I know glow with a flickering yellow light, and I just thought if I took a couple of them, stuck them in the eyes, then I'd have a rat that has flickering yellow eyes. It's the actual LEDs that do the flickering, there's no circuitry involved, so that's a very lazy, very easy project to do. What I do intend to do is use the other rat for a slightly more complicated one. In fact, I've got 3 in mind, and I've actually got quite a few of these rats tucked away from last year's Halloween. So there's probably going to be a series of 3 of these. So it's tied in with my Halloween projects, but it's also my bargain store project. So we'll see how we get on. Right, first thing we'll do is have a little look at these tea lights. They're incredibly simple. It is just an LED and a button battery. If I pull a bit of plastic out and switch it on, probably doesn't show up that well with all the lights I've got on here, so I'll turn one of them off. There we go. So it's a flickering yellow light. And I'm going to use that as the eye. It would be nice to be able to use, let's put the light back on again. It's a bit bright. It would be nice to be able to use the on-off switch, but I actually know from experience that on-off switch is again very simple and not transferable. If I take the battery out, all that the on-off switch does is pushes one leg of the LED, don't know if we can get up closer, one leg of the LED up against the side of the battery. The other leg of the LED rubs against the bottom of the battery. And because I want to take those LEDs out and use them separately, that on-off switch effect is not going to work. So I'm going to have to rig up some other way of switching it on and off, and some other way of holding the batteries, because I want to mount them in the body of the rat. just force that apart a bit more. There you go. All we've got is the LED, that bit of plastic pushing the leg in and out. If I pull that a bit harder, that's it. There is no circuitry, or at least the circuitry that does the flickering is actually within the LED. So I'm going to extend the legs of the LED, drill the eyes out in the rat, stick the LEDs through, run the wires down inside, and probably cut a hole in the bottom here so I can mount the batteries. Right, I've had a little rethink about discarding the casing and this switch. It's occurred to me that if I use a bit of wire, strip the legs off and use them to go in exactly the same places that the LED legs went, I could actually still use the switch. I'll have to cut a big hole in the bottom of the rat, but I could then fit that all in there and still use the original button cell compartment to hold the battery. So I'll give that a try. As I say, that's going to be a big hole I've got to cut in there, but I can hot glue it all in place. First thing I'll do is strip the wire off, put it in place and see if it works, because this wire is a bit thinner than the LED legs were. Right, not sure if this will show clearly, this close up, but there we go, that's the little switch moving in and out, and that's my piece of wire going in there. So I'll put a dollop of hot glue in there to hold that in place, and we might be able to reuse the switch. Right, that's better. Bit of hot glue in the top of it. Put the battery back in. If I just hold the wires in place. And there we are. So that's good, that saves me having to find another switch. So all I've got to do now is dig a hole in his bottom, drill his eyes out, and somehow or other get the wire from there up to his eyes. Yeah, we'll see. I expect if I had one of those Dremels or something this would be a lot easier, but I'm working my way round, cutting lots of, or digging lots of small holes in with my knife, and then I'll work up and get it all out in one piece. It's soft plastic, or fairly soft plastic, but it varies in thickness. Sometimes the knife goes right in and sometimes it only goes in a little bit. So I'm working my way around slowly, and then I'll join up the little puncture marks that I've made so it'll come out in one piece. Right, we're in there. Actually the tail unscrews, which is quite handy. This is actually the other tea light, just using it so that I can push it in and out without damaging that one. But that fits in there nicely now. Might have to just trim it a little bit because you can see it's slightly distorted there, and that'll probably pop the lid off if I push that one in. But one advantage, making that a fairly large hole, is it means I can poke around inside to try and line the eyes up. So, drill the eyes out next. Right, so now we need to solder the LEDs onto the end of these bits of wire. What I'm going to do is use bits of wire that are long enough that I can poke them up from the inside and try and align them. So both LEDs are going to be on the end of some quite long wires. I've drilled quite large holes. In fact, I might have to enlarge them a little bit more. Yes, I will, because I want those to actually sit in there easily. So yes, I'll have to make those a little bit bigger. Right, there we are, highly technical bit of soldering. I've got the light off again just to demonstrate. Okay, so now we've got to shove that up inside the rat. I haven't bothered to put any extra insulation on here. Maybe I should have done. I suppose I could put a little blob of hot glue there to hold them apart so they don't accidentally short out. They'll be perfectly alright once they're inside the rat anyway, because they can't move. But I might just do that, put a little blob of hot glue there just to stop them touching together. Right, just about finished. Just got to mount the battery compartment up his underside. And then we're done. One rat with flickering yellow eyes. Well, there we are. I've actually decided I'm not going to hot glue that in place. I've made such a good fit that if I ever need to get it out again, it'll be easier just to pull it out. So that's just a push fit in there. I've put his tail back on, and that's it. Done. One rat with glowing yellow eyes. A pair of rats were £1, and 3 tea lights were £1. I've actually used 2, and I'm going to use the other rat for another project. Truth is, you could probably buy these glowing LEDs on eBay, sort of 10 for £1 or something. I've no idea. I haven't searched for them. I've seen other sorts of flashing LEDs available on eBay for that sort of price. I haven't actually seen these flickering ones, but I haven't looked for them either. So the message is, that was easy to do. That's probably the easiest little project I've done. You might have been able to do it a tiny bit cheaper by buying parts from eBay, but the object of this exercise or project was to buy something from the bargain store, Poundland or 99p shop in my case, and that's what I've done. I've bought tea lights and I've repurposed them as the eyes for my Halloween rat. And that's it. Project finished.